Hello YouTubers, and today's video is Data Ninja makes easy fixed and relative referencing in Microsoft Excel. Before I start this video, please subscribe to my channel so I can keep bringing you free content. Okay, so let's dive straight into fixed and relative referencing. Now first off, you're going to need some data to work on. You can either use your own data, or here I've got a free download link here where I'm just going to copy this link and take you through. Okay. And if you just go to this link, you don't have to provide an email or any details. You can just simply click this and download a financial sample workbook from Microsoft. Okay. Now I've already done this earlier and pasted this into the workbook here. Okay. Now let's get into formula construction. So one thing with fixed and relative referencing is it's not a standalone kind of function within Excel. It's used within formulas. So to display fixed and relative referencing, I have to use formulas, and for this I'm using SUMIFs. Okay, and I've done another video on SUMIFs which is on my channel. I'd recommend going through that video first, which will touch on fixed and relative referencing as well, but you'll get more detail in this video on the actual fixed and relative referencing. But in this video I won't spend too much time on SUMIFs. We'll assume you know them to some degree. Okay, so let's get onto the formula sheet. So here's a view I used in the SUMIFs video. Okay, now what we're actually going to display fixed referencing in is we've got a table here where we're going to use SUMIFs. Okay, now in the column we've got our unique country values, and in the column F we've got our unique country values, and in column row 25 we've got our product values. Okay, now these are these columns within our workbook: country, product, yep, and we're going to sum gross sales. Okay, and then we're going to actually use year as well. Okay, so I've highlighted these columns. Now these columns all have named ranges, which is another video I've done, which I'd also suggest watching. So this column's called gross, this column's called country, this column's called product, and this one's called year. Now when we point and click our formulas, because there's a named range, the Excel formula builder will pick up the name range, and then we'll also test the formula with typing the named range straight into our formula sheet. So here, what I want to do in the summary table is I want to actually sum gross sales by country and product first off. Okay, now I'm going to start again here, and I'm going to do this by point and click, and then we're going to go straight into fixed referencing and explain the results we're getting. So let me start with my SUMIFs. So equals SUMIFs. Okay, now I'm using point and click, so I want to sum gross sales, so select that first, comma, then I say country, comma, equals my value in F26. Okay, comma, then I want to select product, comma, equals my value in G25. Okay, now this has successfully worked. Okay, now that's one standalone formula in one cell. Now obviously I've got 30 cells here within this summary table, right? Now what you're going to want to do is, when you start working with formulas, is you're very quickly going to want to start dragging formulas across ranges or copying and pasting them. So what actually happens without a fixed reference when you drag a formula or copy and paste it? Okay, Microsoft Excel defaults to something called relative referencing. So it'll update the any cell that's referenced within your formula, it'll update that reference to its relative position on the sheet. Now, let's test this here. So you can see within here, I've said sum if my gross value where country equals F26. So that's this value here, Canada, okay, and product equals G25. Now, when I drag this formula one down, the relative position is one of this formula is one cell or one row down from the formula I originally wrote. So what happens is Microsoft Excel calculates a relative position of one row down. So you'll see in this formula that works, we're referring to F26 and G25. Now, one down relative is F27 and G26. So that's F26 plus one row down, which is F27, then G25 plus one row down, which is G26. Now that's the relative position. And again, if I drag it onto the right, you'll see it'll update the relative column position. So it's saying this formula relative is one column across. So it's updated from column F and G here to columns G and H here. Okay. And then if I drag it again here, you'll see this column is both one cell down, one row down, and one column across from this original formula. So you'll see both the column and the row reference have moved by one. Now that's called a relative reference, and you can, if you drag, I've dragged this formula across all 30 cells. You'll see, you can see the relative positions have updated from here. Now, obviously, when your formula is referring to a fixed range of values, you're obviously going to need to fix these formulas, okay? Obviously, our range of country values is fixed in column F here, and our range of column values is fixed in row 25 here. So to actually get this formula to work, we need to start using fixed references, which says to Microsoft Excel, when I start dragging or copying and pasting the formula, okay, I still want to fix to this range of values, even though the relative position of the formula is changing. So within this column, within this case, what we're going to do, I'm just going to delete these out, okay, is we're going to first just try and drag our cells, our formulas down. Now you'll see these aren't working. Now, when we drag these formulas down, this is where there's some complexity within fixed referencing, is understanding when you want to fix to a row, when you want to fix to a column, and it just comes with practice, okay? What we're doing here is as we drag these values, this formula down, we actually want the country reference to stay relative. So you'll see F26 here is our country reference, and F27 here is selecting France, F28 here is selecting Germany. Now, in this case, we actually want the column reference, the country reference, we actually want it to be relative. So as we drag it, we want it to update. Now, the issue we've got here, though, is our product values all in row 25 here. Now, the issue we're having is as we drag it, this product reference is updating to row 26. It's updating to one down. And obviously the formula is not finding a product value. So here the formula is working because it's finding both a country value in F26 and it's finding a product value in G25. But when this formula is dragged down, it's working because it's finding a country value in F27, so that wouldn't cause an issue. But then it's not finding a product value in row 26, okay? So what we actually have to do is we have to fix to our products row here as we drag down, okay? Now to do this, there's three methods of fixing, right? You can fix to both a row and a column, okay? You can fix to just the row, or you can fix to just the column. Now, in order to fix, you can either use a shortcut or you need to type a dollar symbol, okay? Now in this case, I want to fix my product range to row 25. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to type a product value before 25, which is my row reference here, okay? Now there's also a shortcut for F4. So to fix to both, you press it once and you'll see Microsoft's added dollar symbols before both my column and my row. If you press it twice, it will fix to just the row, so you'll see it's just added the dollar symbol to before my row, and then three times it will fix to just the column, so you see here there's a dollar symbol just before column G. For this, I'm just going to type, so you can either type or use a shortcut, and I'm going to fix to row 25, okay? Now I'm going to drag. Now you'll see this is working because, okay, I fixed I fixed my formula reference to stay on row 25 even as I move the location of the formula. So as I drag it down, it's still picking up Amarilla, okay? And what's happening is it's finding a new country value, so the values are updating as the formula picks up the new country, because the country value is still relative. You see here, the country column is still relative, okay? Now, that works. Now, that's a fixed row, right? Here, I've used the fixed row reference for my product. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and drag across. Now, you'll notice here, even though I've got the fixed row reference for my product, I've dragged one across and the formula's not returning any value. Now, that's because my country reference is still relative. So you can see my country values are in column F, okay? So here, F26. But as I've dragged one to the right, the relative position has changed by one column, right? So now it's saying country equals G26. And in G26, there's no country value, okay? So the formula hasn't errored out, right? It's not actually returning me an error, but it's just returning no value because it's not actually summing anything because it hasn't found a country value here. So what I need to do is I need to also fix my country reference, and my country values are always in column F. So what I want to do here, I'm just going to put a dollar symbol before F. So I fix to column F. Now I'll also test the shortcut here. So that's pressing it 3 times. Okay, press F4 3 times. So you can do either or. Now I've fixed in here. I've fixed both my country reference to column F and my product reference to row 25. So now when I drag this, okay, this formula, it doesn't have to be drag. I can copy and paste. Okay. Right, but as I move this formula into new cells, okay, the formula, even though the relative position of these formulas is changing, the formula is still fixing to certain ranges that I've declared. So it's constantly fixed to column F for the country reference, and it's constantly fixed to row 25 where my product values are, and that's why it's worked. Okay, so that is fixed and relative referencing, and just get used to this window here where the column fix is a dollar symbol before the column value, which is always a letter. So columns are always delineated by letters. Okay, so when you see a dollar symbol before the letter, that's a column fix. And the row fix is always a dollar symbol before the number, because the numbers are always row delineated, okay? So you'll see in here, when you read these formulas, practice reading where the dollar symbols are as you use fixed referencing, and start to understand these dollar symbols, because they're quite important for the formulas. They obviously dictate fixed referencing, so they're critical to formulas and how the formula's functioning. So that'd be something where definitely practice, definitely just keep practicing, and you'll become more familiar, and eventually you'll be able to read a formula and read dollar fixed referencing quite simply. It just comes with a bit of practice. So finally, I want to actually fix to both a column and a row. I want to give you an example. So in here, we've done an example with country of fixing to a column. We've done an example with product of fixing to row 25. Now, with at other times, you're going to need to fix to both. And I'll give you an example here, which you might have a drop-down menu within your data sheet, or quite often dashboards have drop-down menus. Okay, and somebody selects a value in a drop-down menu, like in this example here, a year value. Now, you therefore need your formulas to always fix to that specific cell. And it's not actually a range of cells, it's just one cell. So you actually need both affixed to the column and the row, which will lock it to a specific cell. Now, I've done another video on Excel lists and menus, so I would recommend watching that video as well. But what we're going to actually do is we're going to incorporate this drop-down menu into our summary grid here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add another element to the formula, and I'm going to put comma, okay, and then we'll go and select our year range, okay, equals, okay, and then select cell G22. Now, as I change this, what we'll do first, we'll try and drag this formula, and what you'll notice is it's not going to work because this is a relative reference. When we start dragging this, you'll notice it's not going to work, okay, as we'd expect, okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to fix to this cell. So we need to fix both our row and our column reference. So I'm just going to click before G. I'm going to press F4 once. You can either use the shortcut F4 or type the dollar symbol. And you'll see by pressing F4 once, it's fixed to both column G and row 22, sorry. So it's fixed to this exact cell. Now I'll press enter, okay. Now when I drag this formula, you'll notice it's worked, okay. That's because all of these formulas, no matter what their relative position is, they're all fixed to cell G22 for the year. Now, hypothetically, if this was in the dashboard, somebody selected a different year value, you'll see all of these formulas will change because they're all fixed to this year value here. So you'll see how powerful that fixed referencing is, and how I didn't have to rewrite 30 formulas. I wrote the formula once and I fixed my referencing, and then I could just drag it across 30 cells here. It could be hundreds of cells. You would, in the real world, you might drag it across hundreds, and it's worked. So it's very powerful, and it's a very effective way of kind of working with formulas, and being very quick and very deliberate with your formula coding. Okay, now a final example. I've quickly made use of named ranges in this workbook, so I'm going to actually type this up from scratch. This is, I've done another video on named ranges, but I'm just going to quickly show you here. how I don't even have to point and click within this sheet, within my data sheet here, because I've got my named ranges: country, gross, product, and year. Okay, so I'm just going to start again here, and I'll show you how I'll do that. So equals sum ifs. Okay, I want to sum gross, so I'm just going to use the named range. Okay, I want to sum where country equals my value in column F, so I'm going to fix column F with my dollar symbol there. I want to sum where my product equals my values in row 25, so I'm just going to fix onto row 25 with the dollar symbol, and then I'm just going to say where my year equals my value in my drop down menu, and then I'm just going to, this time I'll just press F4 once to do a double fix. Okay, now you see here, because I use name ranges, I haven't had to jump between sheets. I've just stayed on my sheet here, and I'll press enter. Okay, and then I can just drag this formula, so you can see with a few named ranges, um, I could create these name ranges very quickly in this worksheet. With 4 named ranges and use of fixed referencing, you can see how quickly I've populated this big table here. And also, this could easily be in a dashboard where I might build a dashboard to send around the business, and users could select a year value in this drop down menu, and all of these formulas would be fixed and linking to this drop down menu. So these are really powerful um, tools to learn within Excel. And as always, please have a go yourself. Either use your own data or download the data via the link in the comments. And that's it. And finally, please subscribe to my channel so I can keep bringing you free content. And thank you, and have a nice day.